Hello everyone, welcome to another motovlog on my channel. My name is Marshall3498. In today's motovlog, I want to talk about a few mistakes that new riders might make. One and number one and the utmost important is I'm sure everybody who is interested on getting into motorcycling as a new rider has somebody or knows somebody that knows how to ride. Please, if you don't listen to anything else I say, at least listen to this first item I'm going to talk about. Don't let somebody show you how to ride a motorcycle in a parking lot for an hour or two, and then think, oh, I'm going to go take the DMD, the license test. I'm good, I know how to ride now. Wrong. Of course, again, all this is my humble opinion. If you've never rode a motorcycle before, just don't do it. The class is only a couple $100. I took it myself 5 years ago when I was a new rider, and man, it can teach you so much stuff. Not only can it teach you a lot of things that your friend in the parking lot can't show you, it goes into strict detail about every little thing, what to do, what not to do, some very important emergency maneuvers that could really save your life. Just tons of stuff. There may be some people who are wanting to get in new into motorcycling and might be kind of intimidated about the whole thing. And guess what? If you don't buy a bike till after you take the class, if something scares you or freaks you out, all you're out is the cost of the helmet. If you didn't buy one for the class, most MSF classes will provide at least a helmet. And you don't even have to have full riding gear, just blue jeans, any type of glove, doesn't necessarily have to be motorcycle specific. If you're on a tight budget at first starting out, all they really want you to provide is your helmet. And a lot of times, at least the one I took, they had some borrow helmets available. The one I took had several different types of motorcycles there, cruiser, standard bikes, even some small dual sports, just so maybe you could get a feel of what you want, the bike you're interested in, just to know, give you a heads up on what they might feel like, at least that class, not that individual bike. But just do yourself a favor and get the proper training. And these guys are professional. They do this is their job and their livelihood and their way of life. And man, I learned so much stuff from them, and several of the stuff, especially the emergency braking stuff, is so important. If you don't buy a bike with ABS, no big deal. You don't have to have that. It's a good thing to have, but it's not totally necessary. But like I said, you learned so much stuff from the instructor in the parking lot. Like I said, if you're wanting to try it and a little bit intimidated, if you dropped the bike several times, if you decided, hey, this just is for me, all you're really out is the money for the class. Not that big of a deal. So, like I said, if you take the class, you're done, you know how to ride. Well, at least I wouldn't say know how to ride, but you're at least off to a good start. All you got to do, like I did, took the class, took a copy of my birth certificate, my valid driver's license to drive a car, took them that, and took them the certificate, and I took an eye test and paid like duplicate money, like $8, and I was done. I had my endorsement, and off from then I went. Another thing too that I can't stress enough is even if you take the class and you're good and you bought your own bike and all that stuff, stick to back roads, stay away from traffic as much as you can, just to get a feel of the bike and it becomes second nature. Those of us who are experienced riders know what I'm talking about. Eventually, after, maybe 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 miles, everybody has different learning curves. It'll feel like just driving a car. It'll feel second nature, and it won't be as big a deal and as scary. At least that's what it did for me. I'm sure everybody does that. But, do that, especially if you got a friend that rides, get them to follow you follow them. That way they can teach you line through corners. They can be there for you in case you fall, so on and so forth. That's another thing to do. Even if you take the class, start out riding with somebody and let them kind of just watch you and maybe give some pointers, things you might not be doing the right way. And not only that, but that way, in case you fall, you have somebody there to help you, or maybe, God forbid, have to call 911. And another thing I'll say about, I have about 5 things here. It's not really particular order. It's just kind of some things and thoughts that I've learned as starting as a new rider to go to a more experienced driver. Don't be tempted to buy the brand new R6 or Ninja C636 out from the showroom floor. Sport bikes, even 600s, are pretty powerful bikes. I wouldn't say they're retarded fast, but they are pretty quick, especially for a new rider. Don't buy a 600 sports bike for your first bike just because they're pretty and they're cool and that's what everybody likes. Your first bike, chances are you're going to make a mistake and you're going to drop it, at least in a parking lot. Maybe not. And to have a brand new bike and just drop it, just learning as a new rider, to drop it in a parking lot or something would definitely hurt your feelings and make you have a bad day. Start out with smaller bikes, even some of the mid-size bikes, and I'll get on my beginner picks in a separate video, not this one. But just don't do that. Don't get a sports bike. Don't do that. And, or something to that sorts. Like I said, I'll get into what type of bikes I recommend in a separate video, not this one. Another thing for a new rider that I think they should do is do not cheap out on your riding gear. Don't buy, the $50 Vega. If that's all you afford, fine. If you have a little more wiggle room in your budget, get a mid-price helmet. Say, $250, $300, maybe even $400, $450, whatever you afford. Trust me, I've been there, done that. You'll be much happier in the end with a nicer helmet. Not only will it protect you better and be safer, but it'll just feel better to wear. The inside will be real soft and it'll fit better. Well, maybe not fit better, but it'll feel better on your head and you'll want to wear it for longer and enjoy riding more, because if you're not comfortable in the gear you're in and it doesn't fit right, this, that, and other, you're not going to want to wear it. That's another thing. Get the proper kind of gear from head to toe, boots, riding pants, all that stuff. Even if you can't buy a lot of real fancy stuff, at least like riding pants too. Just buy say $150, $200 pair of riding jeans. There's even some on Revzilla for like barely $100. Sometimes you might find a clearance stuff of something, say $130, $140 and find something on sale. Especially, sorry guys. Especially, this peak time at riding season, summer's right upon us. There'll be some specials, some last year clearance. Some websites will be trying to make some room for. And even just doesn't have to be a real expensive riding boot. To get an actual riding boot, you don't necessarily have to get something, full race spec, track, blah, 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 $350 pair of boots. Just get something decent. I'd say a real good all-around decent and really comfortable. I've had them now for, 4 years. A good pair of riding boots, just an all-arounder, just to wear out riding, not necessarily to go wear to work and walk around at work. But I have the Alpine Stars MX3s. They're not a tall boot. They're kind of a mid-height, about like your average height-wise. They're about like your average high-top work boot, that kind of height. Super comfortable if you get the right size. I've had nothing but great use out of mine, and we'll continue to do so. But like I said, that's the main thing. It's just don't do all that stuff. Don't make all the new rider mistakes. This is something to enjoy and something you should enjoy doing. And if you plan it all properly and do all that stuff, you'll have a much better time and an overall better experience. And we'll enjoy this wonderful world of motorcycling that we all love to do. Those of us who ride know what I'm talking about. It is one of my number one hobbies, and I thoroughly enjoy it. And I think everybody should at least try it once to see if it's for them or not. So on that, guys, it's about all good on today's motovlog. If you've not already done so, please like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment down below. Get any kind of questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them to the best of my ability. And on that, guys, have fun, ride safe, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya.